When over 851 people were injured in Las Vegas in that shooting, over 422 of them were shot and almost 60 of them died in one incident in the US. Did Mr. Percival Latouche come out and say all Jamaicans in the US diaspora should run away from America and go somewhere else? When people are bombed on the subway in London, when cars are driven into pedestrians on the street side in New York and in Paris, does he say that everybody should give up these countries that they've adopted and move away because they're in great danger? When people are shot in the Bataclan in Paris when they're watching a concert by random senseless acts of violence, does he say that these countries are uncivilized and that people should abandon them? Oh wait, no, he doesn't? Okay, Mr. Percival Latouche, we see what you're doing here. Where is your patriotism? Where is your love for this country? Are you going to stand up against criminals in Jamaica? Or are you going to abandon the country and encourage others to do so and hand it over to others? Where else is our birthright country? Is there anywhere else in the world that Jamaicans own besides Jamaica? We can't go back to Africa and claim anything. Most of us don't even know where in Africa we're from. Come on now, Mr. Percival Latouche. Quit with these dramatic statements and start to be more of the solution. I am not here to sugarcoat anything because certainly I don't have romantic notions of Jamaica being a perfect utopian paradise where you can just sit around in the breeze and not be careful of your surroundings at all. Absolutely not. But as someone in a leadership position, Mr. Percival Latouche has a responsibility to be less reckless in the way that he speaks, because his words have power to cause panic amongst the general populace and people in the diaspora. Welcome, 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 JE lovers. Welcome back to my channel. I am very excited to be getting back to some of my more regular content after all those music videos that I posted from the Jamaica cruise. However, before I get any further, I want to really take a moment to thank and appreciate my recent subscribers. So as folks know, I just started this channel and I'm super excited to be at 70 subscribers. For folks who have decided to click that button and be a part of this journey, I really appreciate your presence and I'm looking forward to continuing to create more content for you. For those who haven't subscribed yet, I would really love it if you would decide to stick around and be a part of this journey with me. So with no further ado, I will get into this story which I missed while I was away, where basically there was this new kind of alarm around returning residents and dramatic declarations that returning residents were being targeted and slaughtered in Jamaica, and that started some I guess movements around telling returnees basically to stay in the countries that they have adopted, like Canada, the US and England, and never to return to Jamaica, which I was very surprised to hear that, and then surprised to hear the people that it was coming from. But you know, after doing some more research, I can certainly understand where some of this is coming from. So with regards to Mr. Percival Latouche, the head of the Returnees Association, it seems as though this is an association that he started when he returned from about 30 years or so living abroad. So this man has been back in Jamaica since the 90s. He's seen a lot of things happen in Jamaica. He's been there through many different political administrations, but it does seem that he's a member of the People's National Party. And so when you hear things coming from people, you do have to take into context who the messenger is. Now, I agree that he certainly has cause for concern with, you know, about 11 or 12 returnees being killed this year, which is one a month, which is 12 too many. Nonetheless, I mean, obviously, in a situation where the country has a larger scale crime problem, I mean, that number compared to the over 1,000 Jamaicans who has been killed across this year shows that the security situation exists across the board. And as such, despite the calls for returnees to come back, to stop coming to the island, there is a concern for everyone. And so there has to be a crime plan that addresses the issue across the board. Returnees have certain specifics to their situations that I think require specific advice for them, especially as you think about people that are returning to the country that haven't been here for a long time, and they are they're perceived to have money to spend. A lot of them are building up you know, big houses and things like that, and they're having to hire contractors to work with. And so there are certain specifics that they can be helped with regards to acclimating back to the island. Mr. Percival Latouche, also, I think, you know, he's reacting because he's had personal relationships with some of these people. They've reached out to him for advice, in particular the lady who died down in Santa Cruz recently. Apparently Mr. Latouche was supposed to have met with her a day after she died. She had reached out to him 2 weeks earlier to talk about some issue that she was having. So maybe he is feeling a little bit guilt around the situation, and so he could be reacting about that as well. So there's a lot going on when you're hearing him coming out declaring these dramatic statements that there's an epidemic, and you know, the country, if he were younger he would move to a more civilized country and all of this. This man has been around for a long time. These issues have been there for a long time through different administrations, and when his party was in power, he wasn't out there in the forefront making these dramatic statements. So obviously you have to take everything that he's saying in context of who he is, and the fact that, you know, all these folks who are running around saying this, that, and the third, a lot of them have not come to the table with solutions. They haven't said, this is my 10-point plan. This is what I think you should do in order to address the situation. And so it's a problem that all of us should be addressing. I will say that, you know, I am someone who returns to Jamaica on the regular. I do plan on retiring back there. I am years away from retirement, so I do have some time. However, until then, I will continue to return to my country. There is something about Jamaica that connects Jamaicans in the diaspora permanently. Like, for Jamaicans, we'll never get over our love of the island, and that's why even a lot of people used to hear say, "Man, I'll go back to Jamaica," and then first you see them on every internet website, every YouTube channel commenting about Jamaica, because they are inexplicably tied to the country. They can't let go. Jamaicans get very depressed when they're living in these cold climates and they're here for years and years with no return to the island. It's not a happy way for them to live. So no matter what they say, none of them will ever convince me that they are happy never going back to Jamaica. And as such, we want to be a part of the solution. We want to be able to go back to where we belly string cutting it. Maybe the navel string thing. Maybe because the navel string barrier at Jamaica is like a psychic connection. You love your people, them, you love being around them, you love your food. Every time I step off of the plane, every time I step out of one ship and I step on the Jamaican land, is like me reach at the place where I'm supposed to be. This is the land of my birth, this is the land of my ancestors, and I will never stop going back. And I personally went back to a lot of these places that, you know, some of these incidents have been happening. I went just this year, I was in Santa Cruz, pretty close to where that woman was killed down in Beatles Boulevard, or wherever she was killed down there. And really, I had a great time. It was women in the house. Every morning we woke up, we drank our coconut water, we ate our mango, we looked out, whatever. Nobody attacked us or anything like that. Now, I'm not going to say that because something didn't happen to me, it means that it's not happening. That would be absolutely ignorant to make a statement like that. However, these stories are necessary to share with those who may be absolutely scared of going back, to say to them, listen, people are going back. My mother and father, they went back last week, and honestly, my parents are wheelchair travelers. They're older now, and there were so many people going to Jamaica for the Christmas holidays that there literally weren't enough wheelchairs. My mother almost fainted in the airport. The planes were packed going back to Jamaica. So nobody is out here, not at least at large, panicking in the way that Percival Latouche would want them to. People are still going back. They're being judicious about the way how they move about in their business, but they're going back to enjoy the place of their birth. We're not going to be run out of the island so that it can be taken over by a bunch of who knows who they want to sell out this country to, and have the rest of us be exiled in places where people don't even really like us anyways. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to say, there's a ton more that can be done with regards to educating people and really trying to keep them out of harm's way. And I can make more videos about that. I don't want to make it too long today, but I just wanted to come on here and say, please people, do your research, be reasonable, don't panic, don't jump off cliffs, because people are out here with various motives trying to get you to stay away from your country. I just want to thank you for sticking around for this video. I hope you subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and until next time, take care of yourself, my friends. Hang up the phone.